Hello and welcome back to Tripod Talk, the official podcast of What Pictures, even though there's not an unofficial one. Haha, questions. My name's Matt Lister, I am your host, and we talk about films. I've messed this whole thing up. It's okay. To my left is Adil Anwar.
Hiya.
And to my right is Sophie Ellis.
Hi.
My co-hosts, my cohorts, my partners in crime in everything that we do online.
I don't mind.
Oh, come on, I made a rhyme. And today we are talking about what was
Darkest
Hour.
Darkest Hour,
Just
which
Darkest
is
Hour.
a film that's just come out recently. Just Darkest Hour.
Yeah, I didn't want us to get it wrong for the entire podcast and just slowly giving people like heart attacks.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about Darkest Hour. We're going to start off with some film news first. But how you guys doing?
We're good, man. We've been out all day.
Well, yeah, we've seen each other all day. It's fine.
But for
We
podcast
tried
audience,
2 restaurants before we got to the third one.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we
got
don't
there.
do well with public embarrassment.
No, we
either,
don't do
we? So it was a real ordeal for us.
I was really looking forward to Nando's as well.
Yeah.
20-minute wait. Got to Frankie and Benny's. 30-minute wait.
Yeah, we fucked up. I mean,
Yeah.
and there it goes.
We'll try again next week when we're going to be incredibly hungover.
Prepare for an update.
Maybe.
Anyway, let's talk about some film news, shall we? I believe you both have some film news. I'm going to hand it over to Adil.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. So there's a couple of small things. First off, Nintendo have announced that they're going to make a new Mario film. Sophie had this news and she's really upset. It's with the people who made the Minion Studios. Do you have anything more to say about it? I was just going to bring up that it's happening.
Yeah, no, so was I.
Whether we're kind of, I don't know, it could work. I just think, with the Switch coming out, Mario's in a massive place right now. It just seems like a money going thing.
I'm surprised they've never done it earlier, to be honest.
He's such an iconic game
There was
character.
one in like 1990s which Bob Hoskins played him.
Oh, really?
But I think that was fairly terrible. Like, very terrible, actually. So they obviously gave up on the idea there and then.
Was that a live action one?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, whereas obviously this is animated, so it should be a bit more true to...
Yeah, and plus, like,
actual
even
story.
they think about films with these kind of characters and stuff, they've come on so long since then.
Yeah.
Or come on so far. Like, Toy Story was one of the first films that could do the barrier well between adults and kids, and now we're in a better place, I think.
Just in a better place in general.
We're in a way
also,
further ahead
just
place.
a complete... This is nothing to do with anything, but
Okay.
I only just recently learned. You know the character the Fonzie?
Yeah.
I never knew he was played by Henry Winkler. I only just found
Oh,
that
I
out
did.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is.
Happy Day? Wait, Fonzie's
Yeah,
Happy
oh,
Days.
yeah.
He's
The water boy, he was the coach. You know, the bad coach.
in Arrested Development. He's the terrible lawyer. Sorry,
He was
lots of
also
stuff
in
you
Parks and Rec.
This
He
is
was
pointless.
Thingy's dad and also the doctor.
Oh, John Ralphio's dad.
Yeah.
I love John Ralphio.
You know the doctor who does the ultrasound for...
Oh,
Yeah,
He's like
yeah,
a really
okay,
nice
yeah,
guy
I know
that
who that
constantly
is.
screwing them over.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to bring that up
Okay,
because I thought that was
thanks.
fun. And he looked... Also, Tom Hanks was in that.
Do you want to alternate news, Soph? You want to go next?
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Bring it straight back to news.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a bit of a... Oh, Matt's glasses are steamed.
Don't bring up that I'm
That
drinking a
news was
brew
such
right
fire.
now.
So, there was news recently, I think it was last night, questioning the cult of male directors beyond Quentin Tarantino.
Going
In a New York Times opinion piece, actor Uma Thurman shared a harrowing story about being forced into a stunt by director Quentin Tarantino while filming Kill Bill, claiming she feared for her life. Now some are raising questions about actors' fears and lack of accountability on set.
Well, an actual stunt woman was killed on that film, and that's the he
Oh,
he
wow.
wanted her to do it. Stunt woman did it. Stunt woman died, and the kind of impact of that
Bloody hell.
because she was getting pushed quite a lot. It's an interesting one. They're talking about a couple of directors have tweeted. I think I saw someone saying there should be an independent safety reviewing officer type thing on a film who isn't, because everybody on the set is tied to the studio or the director. And
Yeah.
there's time concerns and financial concerns, and all those constraints kind of can put actors at risk.
Yeah.
And then you've got nutters like Tom Cruise who do everything and kind of makes other people feel a bit, like the whole perception, especially with men, I think,
Yeah.
with being like, oh, well, if he's doing everything, I'm going to look like a coward if I don't do anything.
Yeah.
So you can see how it can deteriorate. But they have done, it feels like they've been doing quite well, but you do hear about a stunt person going every now and again.
Yeah, I think this is going to end up being a bigger thing. Now people step forward and say, I was scared doing this. And
The hope is
Yeah.
it'll be like a kind of precipitating event, isn't it? And then they'll start to have some more serious kind of looks into the rules around it and things like that.
yeah.
Because there's so much money going into it now, but health and safety culture's come on a long way as well.
I'm just wondering where this all leads to, you know, because we've had so many people come out about things that have happened to them, stuff like that, and obviously it's all wrong and everything, but no,
Sorry,
not even a
all wrong
but.
and everything.
No, it's not even a but. It's just like I'm interested to see where this is going. Like, to what level are people going to start? Because I'm wondering where it kind of finishes. Because everything seems to be toppling on one thing to another.
I don't know that it finishes. I think all that happens is it moves down the scale of how like the public like what news stories just tend to be hyped for however long they're hyped for, and then they just fall apart, or they just fall down the thing. So I think it was just something else will take over being the big news thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be some changes in the interim, but it's not going to stop happening. It's human nature that people take advantage of power. So hopefully some kind of good boundaries and systems are set in place while people are talking about it.
It's not the same. This is a really bad comparison.
Go on.
But you know how, for example, Manchester Arena bombing, and everyone really cared at the time because it was in a place that they really knew about, and
Yeah.
everyone
Real team.
cared. And then a couple of weeks down the line, people forget, and it's still going on in the world, but there's much bigger news to take you out of that sort of
This
frame
is
of mind.
super unrelated, but did you hear about the guy from the Manchester bombing who he passed himself up as like a hero, and he was helping
Yes, I
people?
did
The
hear about
homeless
this.
guy.
Yeah, go on.
And he nicked someone's phone, didn't they?
Yeah.
And the
Got
wallet,
caught,
yeah.
And the wallet, and he's got like 4 years or something.
Yeah, he took the wallet and ended up going to McDonald's the next day and using the card and everything, and was just like so sly about it. And then he was supposed to get housing, and people had a Patreon page for him, and he had thousands of pounds. But
Wow. Well, here's a bad segue. Bad segue, guys. Get ready.
okay.
While we're talking
I
about
think
the
it's a good
Manchester bombing.
segue as long as you bring up the fact that it's a bad segue. 'cause
Yeah,
then it
that's
works.
true. I've kind
There
of
you go.
defended myself in advance. Well, because you brought up the Manchester thing, I'm just talking about some British film news in general.
Okay.
And, well, there's a couple of things, actually. So one thing is just how British cinema's done this year. So there's been the investment records have been broken. Spending's gone up 9% in 2017 with films like Last Jedi, Dunkirk, even TV shows like The Crown and Peaky Blinders.
Oh, yeah.
So almost 3 billion went into production in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Did you see recently the children that went to go and see Paddington Bear 2 in the cinema when it was released got shown porn instead?
Oh, Jesus.
How?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
How does that even
Tyler
happen?
Durden, that.
Yeah, I know it, yeah. It's a great movie reference there.
Yeah, I saw it when I was looking at all the film news, but I wasn't
That's
sure
very
how
funny.
far I could go into it, so I left it.
And also, related to what we saw today, so we saw that trailer for the film Finding Your Feet. Just
Yeah.
for anybody, it's a bunch of old British people, and basically just, I think it's kind of like a...
Oh, yeah, with
Or-
Imelda Staunton.
yeah, it's like a midlife crisis, but for the 60-year-olds. but anyway, that film, Imelda Staunton, who's the star of that, has come forward and said... So there's been a consistent rise in the age of people going 45 and over going to the cinema. And she's talking about how with things like the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, which made over 100 million, like the cinema goers are actually now looking for good dialogue and interesting characters and relationships and stuff. Whereas rather than these no script big movie things.
Yeah.
And so she's talking about, so I guess especially in Britain, where the kind of, do you think there's going to be a ongoing, so what I wanted to ask was just, do you think there's going to be a growing divide between, the films, your blockbusters that are there for the biggest money and the most people and young people and stuff, and your intelligent script kind of going characters slightly towards independent? Or do you think they're going to start to come together and you're going to get like those kind of edgier writers and stuff working on blockbusters and things like that?
I'd like to see that.
I
think that'll
because
be more.
I'm afraid there's going to be there's going to be like your
A
bunch of
diverse-
blockbusters in
yeah.
cinemas, and there'll be like a couple of token smaller films with kind of, and I'm worried that kind of kids go like, because when I was watching films when I was younger, obviously there was a blockbuster stuff, but then there was still independent cinema and like kind of a bit more weird movies coming to cinemas every now and again. Whereas it feels now there's another blockbuster coming out every couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's definitely
you could go
prevalent
through,
this year.
you could watch this. You could go to cinema very regularly and never watch a film with a kind of really unusual out there script.
I think I'd be more afraid of the more investment into these kind of films with like bigger budgets and stuff, and then they manage to become more blockbusters in themselves. So then
Yeah.
it kind of takes away that indie aspect of it. I'd like to see more indie stuff like that, especially with smarter scripts and stuff. I don't think the older stuff is necessarily for me. I'll still watch it, I think, if it's intriguing enough. But
Well, even if something like just occurred to me then, something like A Little Miss Sunshine. I don't know if any of you, if either of you saw that film. It was kind of a
Always
bit
meant
ahead of
to, I
our
just never
time.
got round
But
to
it's
it,
just
yeah.
that's just an example of a film that was made for no money by nobody, and then it became like everybody saw it, Oscar runner, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that going to keep on happening? Is it? It kind of is. But like Get Out last year, I suppose, but that was still a big studio film.
Yeah, I'd like to see it because I think it could do as well, especially because we've been talking a lot more over the last couple of months about like sort of not known or just up and coming directors who are now taking on much bigger roles, like Rian Johnson, for example, taking over The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And that was received really, really well. And seeing creators like that, into different films and stuff where they can get bigger budgets as well, it just seems to be a good time for creators, especially if they can kind of get into that market, because we've been talking about Disney coming up with their own online stuff, so they're going to be doing original stuff on like a Netflix-based subscription thing. Sky are now doing their own movies, so we're Amazon, as well as their own TV stuff as well. So it just seems like a lot of people are getting a lot of work as well. It's just finding it for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I do think there's been like a bit more of an attitude going on with studios and TV show, like TV companies and stuff, where it's a bit more like, we get the right creative person and we'll leave them to their devices and and that way, when they're like, the least intervention I usually find makes the most kind of like the best product, in terms of it's not filtered down in kind of too many different voices getting muddled together and stuff. So I think it's a movement that's happening well in general for this kind of field. Like Britain's doing well in the area, which is really good, just as an industry to be doing well here.
Yeah.
Especially with Brexit, it's nice to have something. And like the fact that there is a growing, like, just give the creative people their leeway.
I think the best example of that, especially splicing the two things together, like British cinema and up and coming people, would have, like, kind of going back 20 years now, would be Christopher Nolan, in the fact that he started off with these smaller kind of independent projects with good scripts and a good premise that kind of got his own gathering with that, and then that developed into becoming a blockbuster thing. So I guess another question would be, if this started to happen, would you want to see people kind of go the Christopher Nolan route? Like doing indie stuff, but then eventually they kind of get into the blockbuster thing, but then by that point you've got a load of people doing a load of blockbusters.
Yeah, and it's, plus, I don't know, it's strange because they used to be more set, like, you know, learning paths. So for example, you direct music videos, and you direct like 80, 100 music videos, and that's where you'd get to experiment and get your practice in and learn how to do things under time pressure and budget pressure and all that kind of stuff. And like, I suppose people now are doing it over the internet and have got a lot of the same kind of considerations. But if you get your viral thing, I don't know, I think there's something to be said for like struggling for a lot of like years to put your time in and learn how to do stuff. And I don't know whether that happens as much anymore, when people get a bit of buzz and then just get given everything really quickly and they don't get a in-between time. So I don't really know what we're talking about here, but it's like, I don't really know where we can
kind of
go.
stemming from like more creators, especially like more money being put into British cinema as well, and then just the repercussions of that, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think, so?
Somewhat optimistic.
I was just really into listening to you guys. I don't know what else I can put in, because you guys really talk about directors, and I'm like, who?
Yeah, we're a bit nerdy
So-
about that kind
You know who
of
Christopher Nolan is?
prestige.
Something
Batman.
to do with, DC.
Well, he started off doing stuff.
This is going to take a while.
I know. It's alright, just
No, I'm
to
joking,
everyone, I
love
have
it,
no
love
knowledge,
it.
thank you for this.
No, he started off doing stuff like Memento, and then
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
went into, I know there's
Like
one
the
in between.
prestige.
Insomnia?
There was
that
Insomnia
one?
with Al Pacino, yeah. Which is set in Canada somewhere, I think.
Yeah, and they're more kind of like your script-based, sort of, character-driven stories and
His
stuff.
brother
with not
writes
a
a
big
lot of them.
budget. Yeah. He also writes another TV series that's also really good. I
Oh,
can't
is he?
remember. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he
he's just
wrote
like
a TV
like a
show.
separate thing as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then he went into Batman, and then from there he did The Prestige. He did Dark Knight Rises, so you're getting more into big blockbuster stuff.
Yeah.
And then he got the rights to do Inception, and obviously like one of the biggest films of all time. Also my favourite film.
Yeah.
That's why it's a bit
smirk on your
biased.
face.
We have to
and
do
then
an Inception episode, by the way. Just have
yeah.
you, like,
Oh my god.
It just be
sorry for the
Yes.
phrase, but just cream yourself for about an hour straight.
Genuinely, I was really debating whether to do that for my dissertation, but the only reason I didn't is because I didn't want to ruin the film for myself.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to get that forensic with stuff. You just
Yeah.
kind of destroy it. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, going back to Nolan. Then he goes on to like The Dark Knight Rises, and then where was it it from there? Interstellar. So you can kind of see how he's gone from small indie stuff to like massive, big stuff like that, and it's just still good. I still like his stuff. Like I wasn't that fond of Dunkirk. I thought it was well done, but it's like I still kind of like
we need
to see
another
him.
view of Dunkirk. I really think you can't really take an opinion of it having watched it once.
No.
Maybe I'll do that next week because it's coming. Oh well, whenever it's coming back, because I know it's coming back to the cinema.
Oh
at
really?
Some point, yeah.
I don't know in the cinema, but we can just
Yeah, probably.
So
wouldn't-
Space says no.
I don't think I could at the cinema.
Yeah. I think that's more for us, like just because we're such films and cinema nerds. Like,
Yeah.
just there's so much
You two go.
There's so much intense.
Tell me how good it is.
See, that's why we're talking about Darkest Hour today. It's mainly more for us than you.
Yeah,
and I'm
because-
sorry.
we were having a discussion. I was like, Coco. And Matt was like, Darkest Hour. And then you said, oh, probably makes more sense, Darkest Hour. And I was like,
Well, I was like, we'll do a big like Oscar thing, and I know Coco's in the Oscar thing, but it's not getting the kind of hype that Gary Oldman is in The Darkest Hour. Have you got any more news, Soph?
I do. I have a couple of little bits.
Yeah, we'll
Go
move
on.
away from British film. That's
Yeah,
an
let's-
interesting topic. That I'd love to go into that more.
Facebook has disabled a page connected to an alt-right group that has called for viewers to give upcoming and much anticipated Black Panther film a low rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's happened quite a lot on films recently where a load of people make fake accounts to give them a low rating, but it seems to be
Yeah.
very much against Black Panther at the moment.
Well,
The director said that, he's not really worried about it. But
Love the director.
who's the director?
Ryan Coogler.
He did Fruitvale Station,
He also did Creed.
which did I get you guys to watch that?
Yeah.
And did you
How
cry?
bloody upsetting was that
Yeah,
film?
sorry. I know I probably made you
Dear
cry.
me.
Episode 7 we
Was
talked
it?
about that.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
while
if you
ago.
guys want to go check that out, then please.
Yeah, I'll
do.
make you cry. If you don't cry watching that film, I don't care who you are. Like, you're something wrong with you inside, and you need to be medicated or something,
Oh, sorry.
or less medicated, probably.
Also, just a quick fact for us, that was the first ever podcast we did here.
Oh wait, so
Yeah, back in the other room.
like we were in
Because
the
we just moved in here.
Unit.
Also, today,
Oh, yeah.
completely away from film news, today is the 6-month
anniversary.
Yeah, since we
Oh,
moved
no way.
in.
Yeah,
Which
let's
you-
get drunk.
Which you helped us move in with.
Just really quick.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's alright. Jim Parson, who plays Sheldon Cooper in Big Bang Theory,
Oh, yeah. Oh, no,
is
he's
set
not been...
to star alongside Zac Efron in the Ted Bundy movie.
I can
No.
see he could be. Well, he's already
Ooh.
kind. I just think that's a bit. It's a bit of typecasting that. They're just going to put him as a bit of a nerdy weirdo, I presume. It'd be interesting to see as him someone menacing or something like that with what you've seen him in before.
It's such a shame because I think we've had this discussion loads where if there's too many well-known people in a film like that, it throws you out. And it's just for the name.
It'd be interesting though. I do think he might be a really good actor. It's hard to tell whenever you see him in one thing, but if he's in an interesting character in that and something kind of against type, it might be something good for him.
So, yeah, I think that's
I
might
can
be
see
what he's
Best
going for
Supporting.
because Big Bang Theory's got to be going out.
It's
now.
the last season coming up, I think.
Exactly. So if he can get into something that's completely
Find
character
himself a
driven,
niche.
yeah, and get himself over. Well, sorry, that's
Actually, to be fair, he might have been doing that before Big Bang Theory, and it just never made it to us. Because I've never seen him in anything before, but he could have easily been doing kind of weirder indie films that just didn't jump on my radar.
Yeah,
So
I'm
maybe
pretty sure
Jim
I've seen him
Parsons
in
deserves
something.
Yeah, I feel
where he
like
wasn't the sort of same character, but if he can get himself so opposite to what he normally plays,
That's all I'm
people
seeing
just
that
love
film as. I'm seeing that film as an opportunity for people to show themselves kind of a bit of range type stuff. I think that's basically what it's going for. That's what Zac Efron's going for. That's probably what Jim Parsons is going
I'm
for.
looking forward to that film.
So fair enough, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone deserves a chance. Johnny Depp was like a teen heartthrob, wasn't he, before he'd started doing that
Oh
stuff?
yeah.
And then he became an awful
21
bag.
Trump, was it 21 Trump Street?
Yeah, and some other. I think he did some other stuff where he tended to just be the male romantic dude with the hair and stuff.
Yeah, like in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And last little bit, this first look at Skyscraper sees Dwayne Johnson tackling disaster on the world's tallest building.
No.
Yeah, no, I couldn't care less.
No.
It was
Sorry,
debuted at today's Super Bowl. Johnson kick will undoubtedly kick some ass in the movie. Though he's doing ass kicking of a different kind in the short teaser, the metaphorical kind, while giving out safety and security advice.
Okay.
Jesus.
He plays security expert Will Ford, who's tasked with managing the risks of the world's tallest building. When China's and the world's tallest new structure catches fire, he finds himself caught in immense danger, especially as he's framed for starting a blaze.
Oh god. Right. Who's the director? Does it say?
Does it say?
Right. I'm going to find this out now because if it's the same guy who did San Andreas with him, who's also doing Rampage with him, I don't know what to say.
Is it like his cousin? Like, what's going on here?
And the last bit of news is an upcoming Netflix movie with Sandra Bullock. Is it you that don't like? Or is it Julia Roberts?
I like Sandra
Oh, you
Bullock. I don't like Julia
Roberts.
Roberts now.
Who doesn't like Sandra Bullock?
I know. Alright.
God.
In Netflix movie, the Oscar winner plays a mother who tries to survive a post-apocalyptic world where people have to be blindfolded in order to survive. That's because if people or animals see mysterious creatures, they turn homicidal and suicidal. And the first picture was her in this rowing boat with 2 children, and they're all blindfolded. Not
Wow.
sure. It's also starring Sarah Paulson,
Okay.
Jackie Weaver, and Machine Gun Kelly,
Oh, Jesus, he's a terrible rapper.
and John Malkovich.
I mean, the rest of the cast is alright, and maybe he's okay. He's probably just playing a nut job, but
Maybe.
it might be okay. It sounds like an interesting idea. Like, just thinking about it from an acting point of view, they haven't got their eyes for the whole thing. It's a bit like Bane, like, it's an inbuilt kind of something that detracts from what you can use.
Yeah.
So
It's being directed by Suzanne Bier, is it? Night Manager's director.
okay, she's decent.
Yeah.
German lady.
Okay. I found out who the guy was, by the way.
Okay.
He's worked with The Rock before, but on
So-
Central Intelligence.
Okay, that's
Oh,
again, not
alright.
good.
Now, well, there's
Goddamn Kevin
two
Hart.
things here. There's that really interest me actually. So I'm hoping it's not going to be one of those generic
Alright.
disaster films, which I already think it is. But apparently, he's the director of We're the Millers
Hey.
and also Dodgeball,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
which is another one of my favourite films. So maybe I
What's
give
his
it a
name?
chance. His name is Rawson Marshall Thurber,
Oh yeah.
and if you've seen this film or
I
not,
wasn't just being a dick.
he's an actor in also a film I like, Easy A, as the Quiznos guy. And that's it. That's all I have on that guy.
Alright, I have another film thing, which is more of like a general discussion thing that also cuts into the Darkest Hour. So this
Okay.
again might be segue
Hey.
of the year. This might be.
Come on, Dale.
So basically, I'm not going to spoil or anything, but there's a specific scene in The Darkest Hour which apparently some people have been getting taken out of the movie from, which just for us here is the scene on the tube.
Yeah.
So people are basically
I quite
saying,
liked that.
I did as well. Basically, people's problem with it is because it's one of those moments where it's something that clearly didn't happen, but is convenient to the story.
Yeah.
So, for example, this article's basically talking about it and talking about. My question was just whether we, as kind of cinema goer film viewers, have any issue with that. So, for example, like Braveheart won a bunch of Oscars, even though it was historically a load of rubbish. Argo. Argo, everything. Do you know in Argo, everything that kind of like they said America did, Canada did, and they just said that Americans did them. Yeah, that's a bit dirty. And in Patriots Day, Mark Wahlberg plays an amalgam of 3 different characters. So it's just like a general discussion into: do you think it can? So do you think that kind of stuff can detract from a film where it's clearly you've added this little feature in to make a story make sense and to make it compelling for an audience, but you've taken away from the history of it?
I think if you're doing something that's based on historical moments like that, you should stick to it. Because I was reading similar to that. I know that he left the stations where he was at and spoke to the public quite a lot, but it was
Yeah.
never
It was
in the
never like a
underground.
big moment like that. It was more just generally he'd disappear and chat with people.
Yeah, so even though I enjoyed seeing it, you know that's not realistic.
Did you think that when you watched it?
That it wasn't realistic?
That it just didn't. That this
that
would
it
never
didn't fit
happen.
in, yeah.
What about you?
Oh,
You look surprised we asked
Yeah,
your
you're really.
opinion.
I know,
It's
yeah.
a difficult question. It's a conflicting one.
just to go back, I'll pick up on the Churchill thing first. I really liked it in there. I just thought it was a good bit. I thought it suited quite well. That's just my opinion.
Can you
with
think
that.
of? Do you ever have moments in films though where you get taken out of the film because it seems too convenient a plot device? What's happening?
Most of the time, no.
Mostly not.
But mainly because, like, going back to your whole question, I think you do have to add those things, otherwise it's not a compelling narrative. Like, there's certain things within films you have to tick off, otherwise it doesn't make sense as a narrative structure. So you have to add certain things in to either please certain groups or, to make sure that it actually makes sense in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I do believe you have to add certain bits in. Then again, sometimes it doesn't work sometimes. Like even in this film, just the relationship with the typewriter,
Mm-hmm.
I thought was a bit played on. a bit.
Yeah, sometimes
But-
you can in films they have to. For convenience, there'll be this person is the person they talk to be their general human consult,
Yeah.
and this person will always fill in those details and stuff.
Hmm.
But I do think a certain part of that is implied. It's funny what you're talking about. This there, you can take that into the filmmaker's guide stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to do that, but I was like, that might be a nice little way you can prod that in.
I can't think off the top of my head.
Another way to kind of negotiate into there. You could just
Uh,
say, and this kind of get into this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
then.
well, it's.
I'm just
We're
trying
cutting
to.
this
There's a
out?
whole
Yeah, we're
thing.
cutting all of this
Okay.
out.
No, it's
I
okay.
wanted to stick a plug in, basically.
No, it's good. That kind of goes into the theory of adaptation, which I did like a whole year on. It's like
So
two-
you don't want to talk about it anymore.
a little bit of that, also because I didn't really go to class. But
Yeah, well, that's fine.
I have a whole different theory on adaptation.
I'm giving
that
people
most-
legal advice, and I didn't go to class. Definitely cut that out.
No, like in terms of adaptation and stuff, I have completely different theories to how you should do it compared to actual scholars who have written about it. So I guess it's more of a case of
On
if it,
the individual creative.
yeah,
person.
I think so because it either works in someone's opinion, it might not in someone else's, and it's just
Do you
if
feel
that's the story you want to tell and that's what you want to do, then
Mhm.
that's what you want to that's how you're going to do it anyway. So it doesn't really matter unless it's complete shit.
Do you think there's like a responsibility though when you're making it to people are going to be taking their perception of whatever event or person this is from your thing sometimes? So there is like if I was making Darkest Hour, I would have felt a real responsibility to Churchill and his legacy and family and the people around there not to.
I think that's why Gary Oldman. I know this is a fact that you wanted to bring up.
No, go on.
To do with this prosthetics guy.
Yeah.
Like this, the guy who did his prosthetics because he looks absolutely amazing in this film.
Stunning.
Wasn't
Beautiful. Sorry.
no, but, he looks a lot
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Churchill. And this guy was retired, and he's that good that Gary Oldman got him out of retirement and moved him a couple of doors down from his own house, so that this guy could come round to his house and do his prosthetics every morning.
Do you know how long he spent in it?
In what, sorry?
In the prosthetics?
I don't.
What, like every day? Or?
Like, in calculated hours.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
200.
That
And
doesn't seem very bad.
The prosthetics
Honestly, I think that's
themselves...
less than what I thought.
The prosthetics themselves weighed half of Gary Oldman's body weight.
Jeez. Yeah, that's
Like, in
always
order
the
to
thing they
fatten
talk
him up
about.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the whole adaptation and stuff, there's certain bits like you've got a whole team of not a whole team, that's more shows and stuff, but you've got certain writers on the show, you've got like a whole crew around it that if something was amiss, they would bring it up. I think. No,
I don't. Some people are weird about the boss, and it depends what kind of boss you are as well.
Mm.
I mean, you'd think there'd be enough due diligence, but it's just, I don't know. I think people there needs to be like a bit of a general, we all need to just kind of accept we're going in, we're watching one person's opinion on one particular thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And not put too much, weight on, how much responsibility they have to be minute by minute accurate.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's that director's point of view. It's that it's their art form. I know there's loads of other people that go into it, like writers and storyboard people and cameramen and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's the director's kind of art,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's the thing he wanted to make.
yeah. So that's what you have to kind of take from it, because there's certain ways that people imagine Tarantino making that film. It's a completely different
Lot
point
more
of
machine
view
guns.
and completely different way to film it and what you'd focus on and stuff. So that's just something you have to take into account. It's like with art in general, like Picasso would draw someone different to the way that Van Gogh would.
Yep.
So
That plays. It makes a lot of sense that. It's a strange one though. I just think we all go in with the wrong attitude sometimes, putting this pressure on them for everything to be accurate to the time and stuff, and it's like they decided to look at this one facet of a person sometimes, and I don't know, there should be some weird disclaimer that comes on before every film to tell people to stop being stupid about searching for continuity errors and stuff. It does kind of annoy me when people there seems to be a thing nowadays where people go into films looking to complain about them,
Yeah.
looking to be like people will go and watch certain horror films and just be
says the movie reviewers.
yeah, but we're not
We're not going in there to
Right,
pick
yeah,
out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, true.
and we're not going to be like, did you see that his scarf was at a different angle when
Yeah.
when it cut there? This is ridiculous. I couldn't watch the film. It was unwatchable. Did you see his tie was crooked in one shot and not in the next? And it's just those kind of people irritate me.
Well, the only thing... yeah, that's you, yeah.
I mean, like,
Not that
obviously...
it ruins it
with-
for me, but I just notice those things. But.
I think the only thing that someone pointed out was in the movie's end titles, you know, when it recollects what's happened afterwards.
Yeah.
It failed to mention that Churchill lost the election in 1945 but was actually re-elected as Prime Minister in 1951. And it just sort of leaves out certain parts
Yeah.
like that.
I also felt a bit bad about, do you know, right at the start, Clement Attlee is talking,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes him out to be a bit of a nutter, the way he's talking, but, like, Clement Attlee was one of our best Prime Ministers, just for people to know. Like, he instituted the NHS, he did a ton of good stuff, so he's not just a nutter. Public
Yeah,
service
because Churchill
announcement.
gives like a one-line about him as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly, and it did feel a bit disrespectful, but you've got to kind of have your heroes, and you kind of, that sets it up very well that there's a feeling in the country at the time.
Yeah.
Also, just quickly going back to the like the way that you say about the way that people should be presented in films and stuff like that, and like historically, I feel like quite a lot of that can be on the actors as well, because Oldman didn't have to, you know, go into so much effort to portray himself as like Churchill as he could.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that's on him as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
there's like some responsibility, not just with the directors, but with the actors as well.
Mm.
Yeah, because I know with this one, the directors talked about, again, we haven't introduced the film at all.
It's a
No.
good segue. We're kind of
Yeah.
bringing it to the film
We're slowly
itself.
like teasing it before we talk about it. But yeah, he's talked about the film for him because obviously if he was just thinking about a film to be about Churchill, it'd be a real kind of precious, scary thing to do. But he just made it about a man in a situation of doubt, and the film's kind of just the theme is doubt for him in it.
Yeah.
And again, like you can see it in Gary Oldman as well. Like you can make a lot of choices and show a lot of different sides of a person because we're also kind of complicated based on who we're with and how we feel and where we are and everything. And it's just like this one was more of an explanation, just exploration, just into the whole kind of like the headspace and the him against the world situation, which I suppose we can set up by going into what the film was about.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to talk us through it? We're getting back.
You were so
Finally.
excited you were letting
I
it.
was not getting turned around on there.
All right. Okay. So we'll go into the film review. We've been talking about it a little bit. Darkest Hour. Just quickly before I kind of go into it, what did you guys think?
I enjoyed it. I think I had a bit more of and kind of maybe not knew what I was coming for, but I was ready for that kind of paced and set film. So it was good. It was really good, and I liked my history kind of stuff a bit as well. So it was an interesting time to go into.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite.
There we go.
So when I got told that we were going to be doing this, I really didn't want to go. I sat down and see it, and I was like, "Oh, here it is." And the cinema showed no trailers, which annoyed me.
It feels like they messed up and they forgot.
that ruined my entire cinema experience. I enjoy looking at like trailers, especially before this.
Yeah.
But it was a lot better and more entertaining than I thought. And there's like little bits where I thought it was funny, and I'm pretty sure I heard you like laugh in the side every so often.
I was finding weird stuff funny just because I like to find things funny, so I had to just grasp at straws.
But it was pretty easy to follow. I'm not going to lie, there was a part where I did close my eyes a little bit. But I think it's just 'cause it's dark and I was comfy and we're just eating.
Those cinema seats are fantastic.
They
Yeah,
are.
they are. They're very good.
But I really like those
If there's a light cinema in there, anybody try it out.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I presume they all have it in those cinemas, just for an undeserved plug.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It just felt like it went on a little bit. I know it was 2 hours 5 minutes, and they had to build up attention and stuff. But it had really interesting shots, and the acting was really good.
I really enjoyed it too. The acting was amazing. Oldman took it away. I really hope, unless I see anything else, I really hope he gets Best Actor.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week, didn't we? And I do think that he will.
It's a bit like that completely blew out Daniel. I always forget his last name. Sorry, from
Kaluuya.
from Get Out. I just thought, Oldman was amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot
in this.
more to it.
Yeah.
The specific scenes as well, you can kind of see are kind of just made for him to kind of get into that role and like go for it, and it's I love watching stuff like that.
Did you notice how different he was physically when he was with his wife as opposed to anybody else? I thought that was really interesting.
Oh no.
So there was little choices he made whilst he was just in a private company with his wife, where like clearly he lets a lot more kind of anxiety and nervousness out. So he did a thing where he was like wringing his hands,
Oh yeah.
and he only did it for like a second or so. But I noticed that immediately. And I was like, that wouldn't fit in anywhere else in any situation where he was acting. It's clearly only her. He would kind of like allow himself to be that vulnerable and open with. But it was and she wasn't in it very long. Kristen Scott Thomas, who plays his wife. But again, she was very kind of good, and I think it's an interesting character for Americans to see, because I think there was kind of like a British kind of woman at the time who had like people don't talk about enough, but they carried the country during the actual war in terms of working in the factories and stuff. And even the Queen was a mechanic. Like there's a stiff upper lip, get on with it, contribute side of British women, like don't complain about your problems, that especially from back in the day, which I think is an interesting kind of thing to go down. Almost wish there was a bit more of her, but I don't think it would have particularly helped.
No.
So, do you want to tell us what the story was?
No, I
Pretty
said
sure
that
Dylan
nowhere.
has to do that, mate.
Don't try. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'm just,
No.
So basically, a little summary of the film is, new Prime Minister needs to be brought into Parliament, and Churchill is chosen for this role. Not many people like him, but he has to kind of get through this struggle of gaining a following behind him so that he can lead Britain into the war. And it's basically just about that struggle, about political tensions between different people and different parties and stuff, and he has to kind of bring everyone together so that they're all on the same page. That's the film. Really,
because I don't know what people think about Churchill, but he wasn't popular, and he was seen as kind of a loose cannon, almost dangerous to have in there, because he was very much, and again he had his dad as well, like he was born in Blenheim-Platis. He's not I think sometimes people think of him as like a kind of man of the people, just came out of nowhere, but he is from that background. God damn it. And
I was going to let it slide.
No, I know. It was twice, that's why we couldn't let it slide.
I can't pronounce his name. Is it Neville
Chamberlain?
Yeah.
He was originally set to be played by John Hurt, but he was obviously diagnosed with cancer and died a couple of days ago. But considering the character in the...
John Hurt just
died
a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it was in January.
John Hurt's just died.
Yeah.
I swear he died like in 2016.
I'm pretty sure he died a couple of days ago. Don't do that to me.
It wasn't a couple of days ago. It might have been a few
I
weeks
swear
ago.
it was in January,
25th of January 2017.
17.
Last year, January.
Alright, don't matter then. Either way,
I
considering...
forgot. Now I'm really depressed. Oh.
But considering the character that he was supposed to play actually had cancer as well,
Yeah.
it's just a bit of a sad irony.
Oh dear.
So I thought I'd lower the tone with that.
Alright.
So far you brought on. We've had Weinstein. Alright, now.
There's not that much I can talk about to do with the film. The only things that I really enjoyed from it was there was a shot where it was looking down.
Oh,
no, not that one.
Do you not like that one? That one. There was a shot where it was through a little boy's hand and he was looking at a plane.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I felt
I
I didn't like that shot.
I saw you frown at that point. Because I was going to bring that up. The only shot that I liked was it was like over the shot, and it was
there was tons of
Well,
shots.
yeah.
Yeah, there really was.
and people looking up for a long period of
I
time.
really wasn't a fan of. Anyway.
But yeah, there was like explosives like going off.
Oh yeah.
And it was shining, and then it panned into like someone's eye.
Oh yeah, that was.
I really
good.
liked
Yeah.
that shot.
The elevator one. I don't know why I'm saying elevator. The one in the lift where he's going up in the lift in the background, and it's like a third of the screen him in the lift, and then
Yes.
it cuts to the blackness as the lift reaches the top, and it goes to the back of him in the lift as like a bigger scale coming up.
Yeah.
That was really smoothly done as well. I didn't notice the pan to eyes after the bombs, but
didn't?
I remember the bomb shot being really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it went to like a green field sort of thing, and then you could see like the reflection of the eye.
Yeah.
It wasn't clear that it was an eye though. It took me like a couple of seconds to realise what it was. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
me too.
damn.
There was one of just Churchill's eyes as well that was super intense. That like while he was giving a speech, it was well directed. I'd definitely say overall there was a lot of kind of
cinematography was really good.
yeah.
Like, well, certain parts.
Like the red light,
you
the
didn't
red
like
light
it.
on the microphone. Did you notice that? That was a really good shot when you turned that microphone on. These are all things that make no sense out of context, but people
I know,
probably
yeah.
notice.
Are we talking spoilers? Just in
Yeah,
case,
we
or-
may as well.
All right, she said it.
That's okay.
Just because our non-spoiler 3 billboards, we weren't as able to talk
It was a
freely
bit
about
confused
it.
as well.
Yeah.
Because I kept accidentally saying spoilers. So clearly I'm not capable.
So what do you think the best part of the film was? Was it too soon to kind of...
I liked this. I liked just the first thing one of the things that came to mind there quickly was just the scenes where he was drafting and rewriting his speeches and stuff.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to see, how the whatever. I always try and find that phrase and I can't get it. What am I actually going for? We're pausing this whole thing and we're helping me work this out. Because I always try and say this phrase. Oh yeah, keep it in, I don't care.
Yeah,
People can comment. There's a phrase that says show how the bread, something is made. And I'm sure it's a food and it just means taking you behind the scenes. I keep trying to say show the cookie
show how
crumbles.
the spaghetti.
Show how.
Spaghetti.
I keep going to say bread. And it's definitely not bread.
Sure.
There's
It sounds like it should
there's
be
definitely a phrase I'm looking for, and I'm not letting us proceed
How it's
until
bread
I
and
get
buttered, maybe? Putting it together?
Show how the cake is made. It's not the cake. It's something like that.
I'm trying to find it and I can't see it now.
How the lasagna is made.
I think you might have made it up.
No, there's definitely a phrase.
No, it's alright. How about you just claim it as your own? We don't mind.
So we could carry on the conversation
The problem
halfway
is if
through.
you can't Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm letting it go for now. I'm just going to ask
You'll know
everybody
for
I
next
see
week.
for the next 6 weeks. All right.
Anyway, the cake was made and it was delish.
Don't say delicious again.
But anyway, yeah, just the fact that he had to rewrite these a bunch of times and he was kind of a bit weird and uncomfortable and insecure and kind of overthinking all of them and stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that where you just hear the kind of incredibly precise phrases and speeches and stuff back and knowing that it was something that was crafted over a long time with a lot of deliberation.
Yeah. There was one particular line in it that was towards right at the end and I think it was not the bad guy, but the guy who's not that favourable.
Halifax.
Yeah, it might have been him who said it. And he was like, someone said, I asked him what's just happened. He's like, he's just eloquently used the English language to then send the English to
love
war.
that line. Yeah.
Or
he said
he
mobilised the English language to send us to war or something. But mobilise the English language was a really good phrase.
Yeah, that really got me. For me, it sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but any time that Oldman was on screen, I was just captivated. I thought it was amazing.
I did look over a few times and you just looking in awe, just big smirk on your face.
No, it's just the fact that you lost him in the character, and it's that's Churchill, that's not Oldman. The only thing that you could kind of see that was a bit Oldman was the kind of just a bit around his eyes.
Yeah.
But anything apart from that.
Sometimes when he took his glasses off as well, I noticed a bit more Gary Oldman. And there was one time when he was giving a speech to. Was it not as transformative for you?
I've only ever seen him in Dark Knight.
See, I've seen him in every. It's weird for me. To have I think the weight was a big part of it as well, and it helps. But the only time he went a bit into his own voice when he was talking to her at the map room when he was pointing out what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was just I noticed one word and that showed me how good he was in Churchill. That when he clearly just there was one word which he must have found a bit difficult to stay in the voice. And it was massively kind of stuck out to me because he was that kind of consistently within the voice for the rest of the film. And then there was tiny little mannerisms, a lot of stuff in kind of his mouth and his jowls and stuff was how you could convey Churchill. And he did a lot of little kind of stuff like that in there that you can see that's real difficult kind of intense stuff.
Yeah.
I want to know how many cigars that he smoked throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
It did irritate me. I know it was part of his character, but every time that he was talking with it in, and I was just oh my god, I can't understand you, shut up.
What did you think of the introduction I thought it was really, I've just thought then, I think it was clever to have the introduction being the new typist come and the guy talk to her he's some kind of mythological person that don't do this wrong, don't do this wrong. He's very specific about this. If you do that wrong, you're over. And just this incredible high stakes around this person. They build him up to that, and then it's just a fat guy in bed with a fry up.
Yeah, with a pink robe on as well. Yeah.
And then she sees his balls straight away
Yeah,
as well.
and that's actually that was a really funny choice. I don't know whether it's her part or the director's part, but the little giggle thing she did, it was it was a funny way to do it. It tells you a lot about the person she was. So
Did you like her as an actress in it?
I think so. Yeah, I like Lily James. She did a little mouth thing as well that I noticed as well.
Yeah. See,
downturn.
I thought she was okay up until the point where she was asking about how many men would be returning home. And then it was like she was kind of crying, but she wasn't.
Yeah, I think you'd have to, because I did think in that moment, like, in order for you to, especially at the time, to talk over a room of, like, men in a room you should never be in this insane scenario,
Yeah.
you'd have to be, like, real emotional on the verge of, like, and she just wasn't there for me. It just sounded a bit weird.
See, I thought that was a good choice in the fact that she didn't show
She
that
was
much
more
emotion
restrained,
because,
yeah.
like, back then, men had the power, but it was because they thought they were more logical in that sense. So, like, you know, in terms of, like, women being more emotional, and that's the reason why they, you know, kept the status quo, so to speak. But the fact that she was just kind of taking it on board, still being a little bit emotional, but quite reserved as well, I thought that was a good choice. Just for me personally, that's the way that I took that.
Even the fact, like, even her introduction as a character did so much, because you even think about the fact that he was very kind of curt and rude with her, and then she kind of went away crying, and then his wife, like, had a conversation with her, clearly just, like, really nice woman to woman, like, believable, supportive conversation. Like, you immediately knew the kind of person his wife was there. And, like, then she went in and kind of set him down, and he changed his mind in a very kind of quiet, not really humble particularly, but, like, clearly he isn't an egotistical maniac like someone who would be Prime Minister could be. So I just think it was a really good device to tell you a lot about those three people in quite a short amount of time.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with any of those characters. It's just a brief, like, comment. But you know, when all the children were, like, doing a toast and stuff, did you see the only, like, the son's eyelashes?
No.
It looked, like, so feminine that I couldn't figure out whether he was a guy or a girl. And for, like, the next 10 minutes after the shot, I was like, did he have a son, or was that just...
I thought we'd see more of the children, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, considering they were added in, but... Because there seems to be a bit of tension between them all as well. I was like,
I think it's...
Yeah.
I don't know, adult children, especially back then, it was more of a go and make your life, like, get married, get a job, get a house. They don't really... I feel like kids... Do you know, like, now, even in your, like, late 20s, 30s and stuff, you're still a big part of your parents' lives, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that was as commonplace. Like, you'd come back for Christmas and things, and for birthdays, but I feel like there wasn't as much day-to-day adult children-parent relationship stuff going on.
Yeah.
So maybe it just makes sense in that regard.
Yeah, fair enough.
He had Anthony as well, or Anthony, he was his little confidant, and who he put a lot of stock in, even though it never really explained why he put so much faith in his judgment.
What was it that they said something at the same time? And then what did he say?
He said snap. It was adorable.
Yeah.
That was cute.
And like on the I really liked the train scene. I know it was clearly made up, but, like, even the baby, everyone says I look like a baby. That's clearly just, he definitely didn't say that. But
Yeah.
it's just a thing people love to say about Churchill, and clearly, like...
I like that you wrote the names down, though. You know.
Yeah, the fact that you remember.
I was
them
really
as well.
curious about that, because I was like, I was thinking the whole scene, is he going to remember these names? Because he's definitely going to play them. It's so important in any kind of interaction socially to remember someone's name and keep reinforcing that you know it when you talk to them.
Yeah.
It makes people feel a lot more kind of important. So I was like, I bet he does this. But then I was like, I don't even know if he's capable right now. Like, he seemed to have, like, a mental break a bit in the middle where he just forgot what war cabinet was called, but it was a very subtle one.
Yeah.
And then he got over that quickly, because that's how people dealt with things back then.
Was there anything that you really didn't like then?
That was my next question. What was the worst part of the film?
What did you think of the period it was for? So it was like just doing it for that kind of month-ish span.
I thought it worked.
Did you think it could have done going a bit further? Do you think?
I'd love to see a sequel where he's...
I genuinely would watch a sequel, like Churchill, the later days.
Like,
it's like 1955. And he's like...
I was thinking more like towards the end of the war.
Not much happened towards the end of the war.
The later days.
Because it's an interesting span that we're not told that much about as well. Like, the actual, what it was like within the country at those time, like, in the time, and the actual public. Because because we lose track of the way people actually felt about stuff, just even if it was quite recent with news and things. So it's interesting to think that, like, the whole thing with he went for public perception, and public perception was we do not negotiate, and everything that had been set up so rationally within those closed off political rooms was suddenly just like, but wait, remember you're representing the people here, and then it gets a lot of conviction from that. There's actually kind of a powerful message in there just in general for politicians remembering who they're representing and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't think there's a bit that particularly stood out as bad for me.
No, I don't think it did for me either, to be honest. So, no?
No, me neither.
Just quite more moderate for you, because you didn't enjoy it that much.
The only thing for me is because, as I was saying to you, I really didn't attend any history classes in high school at all. So I didn't know how this was going to end. So the film was like, huh? What happens?
You knew the Nazis didn't win, though, right?
Yeah. But I didn't know that they managed to get everyone with the boats and stuff like that.
Oh, you didn't know about the civilian
No.
thing? Oh,
See, I
okay.
thought it was quite cool in the fact that we've just seen Dunkirk. It seemed like it was a weird spin-off prequel, even though it's history.
Definitely.
So it technically kind of is, because...
If Mark Rylance was in this as well, it would have been insane for me. It would have been incredible.
Yeah, also just quickly, Mendelsohn.
Yeah, he's great. I was also saying to Matt...
The King.
The King.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying to both of you, wasn't I, that he was playing the same King in the King's Speech that Colin Firth played, and I think that's just a really interesting thing for people to see, because...
Yeah, because you noticed the...
Colin Firth plays kind of, whilst he says a stutter while he's getting trained to get better, whereas Mendelsohn plays... So he obviously it's kind of quite prevalent, and when he does fix it, it's still quite major.
Yeah.
Whereas Ben Mendelsohn does it kind of like, I guess it's 10, 15 years later on, or however long on, but he does it a lot more kind of subtly. So rather than having a stutter, there's just some times where he kind of swallows his words and chews, and you can see him like, you can watch him physically, kind of like his face gnawing at itself, trying to get the word out.
Oh, no way.
So, and again, like that, it kind of manifests in his posture and his person, because he's, like, he's got that kind of aristocratic build as well. So he really doesn't inhabit that really well. Like, he seems like a king who's used to being hung on his every word.
Yeah.
But also he's kind of like a bit runt of the litter-ish, because he's always been the one who had that malady. So it's interesting. I really like the line as well about the fourth son. They talked about the Viscount of Halifax, and they were like, well, he's the fourth son, of course he's gonna take the job of president. Every fourth son doesn't say no to anything.
Yeah, you both laughed at that.
I thought that was funny. I've never thought about it before, but it makes sense as like a joke that the youngest kid's gonna just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like ripe with comedy moments.
No.
But there was a few up your bum, etc. moments like that.
Oh, when they were laughing together, that was so nice.
It was an adorable moment, wasn't it?
Yeah. I guess I was going to ask who the best character was, but I'm guessing we're all going to say the same person.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Churchill. Go on, lad. Worst character?
Who didn't particularly? I mean, like, I feel like they could have done more with Neville Chamberlain, because again, he was a very, like, historically, he made one real bad decision with the whole waving the paper out the plane thing, which will make no sense to self. But he was good at a peacetime leader, and he did do good things. And plus, he was in an like, even the journey he went through, they didn't discuss it, but he was tied with that guy, and the whole time he was doubting whether he wanted to back this guy or whether he was actually on Churchill's side. Where does he want peace or war? Does he want Churchill or his mate Halifax?
I think it could have done with an extra 1 or 2 scenes for him.
Yeah, he could have, just to show that kind of dilemma he was in a bit. You could kind of mess with that a bit more. Maybe a bit more with the mum, because the wife, but not necessarily just with him, but just with, think about the life of like a prime minister or a president's wife. Like, they're constantly you got to be so supportive, but there's also massive issues which affect you as well. You want to be involved, so it's like, it's a really, you think about like Michelle Obama versus the Trump's wife, like there's a lot of different ways you can go with it, and there's a lot of responsibility if you want it and stuff, and you could have done the film just about her, I think. So maybe just, obviously there's only so much time and you're doing your main thing, so I don't criticise it in any way, but this is just stuff I think could have been interesting to go down a bit. Yeah,
thinking about it now, I think it would have been good to add 1 or 2 more scenes with him, maybe even 3, just because I think at the end, with the whole point of Churchill getting the support behind him is because Chamberlain kind of gives the signal.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you show the dilemma that he's particularly gone through to get to that point, then it would have made a little bit more sense, maybe, in that way, especially for more the casual viewer.
Yeah, because plus, like...
Oh, sorry.
he obviously he had cancer and he was getting medicated, he didn't look healthy, but they didn't really discuss how that was factoring into his, like, there was just, you were presented with a load of different aspects of why he's conflicted, but not really taken through how he was thinking about it. And obviously it's a Churchill biopic, so they're not really going to get into that much, but this is just different directions that could be interesting to go down.
I'm going to ask one more question, then we'll go into the film 5-star movie review. big, strong candidate for best film.
Best Picture.
Yeah, best picture.
I don't think it'll win Best Picture. I think Gary Oldman will win.
Yeah, I still think Three Billboards because it's just been brought up as a winner for a couple of other critic awards recently. So I still think that Three Billboards is going to take that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Get Out won as like a kind of pushback to the whole reputation of them as like never giving black people credit for cinema and stuff. Do you know, like 2 years ago there wasn't a single black nominee or something.
Yeah.
So I still think like maybe Get Out can win in just a Hollywood's liberal trying to, not to be sinister, like not sinister, but like what's the word? Like when you're suspicious of everything. Well, whatever.
I know what you mean.
Is this going to be another great moment?
Cynical?
Yeah, cynical. Not to be cynical about it, but yeah, I reckon they might give it to Get Out for a lot to do with those kind of reasons more than particularly being moved by the film.
See, it's been a while since we've watched Get Out because we saw it in the cinema, didn't we?
That's coming out again soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching that again. I remember
Yeah.
leaving the cinema and being like, oh my god, that was really good. So I don't think I'd mind if it did win.
Yeah.
We didn't watch it in the cinema.
Did we not?
No.
Where did we watch it?
At home.
Did we?
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you paid for it on iTunes. Not iTunes, it's on iTunes. Google Play.
No way.
You are.
I just had this whole thing where we were sat in the cinema and I walked out. And
Is that a thing that keeps happening?
What, sorry?
It was getting re-released.
Yeah.
It's just Get Out and Dunkirk, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Dunkirk and Get Out that are coming back out because they got nominated.
Oh, and they do like an Oscar season thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they're the only
like
two that I know.
Weekend of
Unless some more have come out, but I think because most stuff going for Oscars is out now. That's the reason why they're bringing them out now. So yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to the 5-star movie review?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the 5-star movie review. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So question number 1:
Yes.
does the story make sense?
Yep.
Oh god.
Oh,
damn it.
The hat
you're
trick.
supposed
I
to
think
be.
that's the hat trick.
You're supposed to be.
Should we
the
both just
professional.
pick stuff?
She beard, you
It's not.
molten.
Stop picking my shirt. Right. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, podcast listeners.
Yeah.
Or any listeners. Just realised. Yeah. Okay. Question number 2. So it's got 1 star so far. That's
Yeah,
good.
it makes sense.
Question number 2. Did the film have a good ending?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a pretty powerful little way to leave it.
I don't think you could have ended it anywhere else, to be honest, unless you were going to go through like the whole documentation.
Yeah. The problem with ending a film like this is obviously you're not going to look at everything that happened, so you just got to pick an arbitrary time to stop. And it felt like a good arbitrary time to stop. Like he made his big speech, walked out, dropped, like killed it, crushed
Mic
the room,
drop.
mic
Yeah.
drop, waddled his little arse out.
Okay. Question number 3. Did you think they were believable characters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This is just something I've genuinely remembered. I watched an interview with the director and he talked about, they asked him what direction he gave to Gary Oldman more than anything else, and he said it was all just about energy, because to him he said film is most like music, and I was trying to get a rhythm to this.
Right.
And it's interesting, like when you watched it, if you think, did you notice things about how like sometimes he'd be struggling to move and sometimes he'd like hop up and down staircases and stuff, and like clearly Churchill as a person was influenced a lot by his enthusiasm and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was strange to see somebody with that kind of size be kind of somehow light on his feet, and I thought that was an interesting direction just to
Yeah.
say his main thing he's looking for is rhythm in an actor and the way they move and deliver.
I noticed that in the way they put the scenes together as well, because it kind of went from him being, completely in the moment with having to deal with stuff to then showing how he's actually feeling from the repercussions of that, and actually then kind of building up to like the next scene, because all the typewriting scenes are basically like the build up for the next scene. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is
The structure
you know where
of
it's
it
gonna
is
go.
very
Yeah.
like specific.
I
Yeah.
was quite impressed with that. So 3 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the third one was, but
The believable characters.
believable characters. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could just take it. Even if I didn't like everyone else, I think Oldman could just take it alone for me for this.
And I do think like a few of the points I made about like the time they're in and stuff, the characters do fit in the time they're in, the situation they're in, and things like that. They're not just doing weird out of character actions and stuff.
All right. Question number 4.
A lot of head shaking going on in this room.
Did the film achieve diegetic absorption? Were you absorbed into watching the film? Again,
Personally,
we have to kind of put parameters on it because we are in the cinema when we watch this, so it's a lot easier for us to do so.
Yeah. I feel like I know where you're coming from, Soph.
yeah, personally, I couldn't just because of my interest in that subject.
Mhm.
But other than that, the film does really capture your attention. It's just a bit
Yeah.
difficult when you don't
I
have
was going
that.
to campaign for a half star, but I actually don't think it's only worth a half star. I'm not sure. I'm
Are
debating.
you not
I think,
going to give it?
I think it deserves the star. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to go for the star mainly because I had no idea what it was like. Obviously,
Where
I
it
knew
was
what it was.
going.
Yeah, like I'd only watched one trailer. I didn't know where the story was particularly going, like
Mhm.
whereabouts they were going to, what parts of his life they were going to show. And then after they explained it in the intro credits, and then you kind of see the whole story go from there. I was really captivated and drawn into it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
So I'm going to petition for the full star.
I agree. I think it looks again. It looks at a different side of that time because so much has been talked about like D-Day and Gallipoli and those kind of things about it. And just as you hear Churchill speeches and stuff, but there hasn't really been much wide scale exploration into him as a person and the actual situation in Britain at the time when it looked like we were going to lose. Because the film doesn't joke about it did look like we were going to lose back then. So I just thought because of that and because of the constant tension they're under, like Belgium, like Belgium's just gone, oh, France is going. Like there was never a low stakes moment to get bored in. So I think based on that it carried you, and based on the journey he's going through and the pressures he's under and how close he is to breaking at times.
Yeah.
And because he's still just a person. That's what it did for me a lot. Is like ups and downs, moments of doubt, moments of supreme confidence, even arrogance. Like we all have these dips and dives, and he just had his amplified a lot because of the situation he is and because of the intelligence he had.
Now, if we're gonna go for the full star,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I can see you trying to not laugh because I did a double sentence. Are we gonna give it a full star with your blessing, or because you don't want to do it, you say no, we'll give it a half star?
No, it's always been a 2 against 1.
Okay.
So
And plus as
like
well,
that.
I do think certain films just aren't made for you, and it's fine. Like there's a bunch of films that aren't made for me.
Any
I can't watch
intelligent
any
films.
kind of, like your anime type stuff and things just doesn't really resonate with me. So I'm not going to say that's not a good film because it doesn't play with me.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just that kind of same.
All right, sweet.
So 4 stars, right?
4 stars indeed. Yes. Now the last question.
No, sorry. No, go on.
Did the movie change you?
See, I can kind of say yes for this just because I didn't know anything about it beforehand.
So, you've
So
got a
it's
bit more
knowledgeable for
appreciation.
me. So because I gained that knowledge, it kind of did change, not me as a person, but changes my knowledge.
Did it change your kind of appreciation for the people in Britain and the people that were around at the time and the way they behaved and had to?
Yeah, see, that was the main thing that drew me in, was because I never knew what was going on,
Yeah.
obviously, while that was happening. So you're like, oh my God, people had to go through
Yeah, and
this
people
in order to-
supremely confident and just like the way British people are, because I believe we'd be the same. Like even if we were in an overwhelming loss situation,
Yeah.
like just by being British, people would just be like, "No way are we giving this up." Like
Yeah.
I will go out, like he says, I will go down like choking on my own blood,
Yeah.
rather than give up to somebody who's clearly insane.
Yeah.
And I just like that was kind of something that's the powerful thing I think for just a British person in general.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and petition for the half star? Or?
I don't think I can against both of you because I don't think it's changed your life at all.
No, I
I
can't.
could,
I
could
can't give it a
try
star.
and give a really good
Go on,
argument
give us a
for
compelling
it.
argument.
It
God.
was kind of that. It was in more of an appreciation for what people actually kind of went through, specifically Churchill himself,
Mhm.
and just kind of seeing the spirits for the people. Maybe that's how I should kind of view things more as well, because I'm not particularly that patriotic.
Yeah.
And then kind of seeing British people be like that, it's like, yeah, we'll go down fighting. It's like, well, maybe I
guess for
should,
me.
but...
But do you think you'll remember that in like 2 weeks' time and be like, oh yeah, I should be like this?
Well, it doesn't really directly affect me, so I don't think I can kind of
No.
try to argue. Well, I could argue for it, it's just not passionately.
No, I
so.
don't think we should.
One thing I'm thinking now, which again, I'm not going for the star, but just something that might make an impact on my thinking generally is just, I think it was a really good way to like demythologize a person, because Churchill's so in perception like this crazy, incredible human who just like took Britain from the brink of annihilation and made all these insane speeches and stuff. And I think it's good every now and again just to watch something just to remind you that these historical figures who got such a aura around them, like they're still just normal people, and we can you can be inspired by them and aspire to be them and not have to put them in some box ahead of like in a different category to yourself. So maybe people could see it like that. I don't, but
But you could.
Alright.
but and I could talk other people into trying to.
So we're giving this film ends on 4
4.
stars, which I'm
Yeah.
happy with.
Very reasonable.
I'm very happy that we're actually giving stuff like better,
Higher.
like higher ratings.
yeah,
now.
it does tell us
Um,
that the system's not broke. It was just the films we were watching.
Also, because we put like this is just our specific ratings on like the agenda that we've got, like the questions that we have to
The
answer.
criteria, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's our personal opinion as well.
No, yeah.
So,
No.
Like it's
would-
these by no means would coincide with our like ratings out of 10 for the film.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. So for me, I wouldn't say well, I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much as Forrest Gump.
Really?
No.
Oh,
I
see,
really
I
enjoyed
did.
it.
Forrest Gump has a different energy to it, though. I think that
Yeah.
maybe you like that a bit more. It's a bit more like no stakes. Everything's kind of a bit jokey, and even with the depressing stuff, like it's just not real.
Yeah, I had a good time with the film. That's all. Would
It's
you
a
say
great
it's better
character
than?
base.
I think I'm going to keep asking this question just because it's the top-rated film so far.
Yeah,
Is it better than To the Bone?
yeah, undoubtedly. I mean that's pretty strong, but it is undoubtedly better than To the Bone. To the Bone has like the problem is To the Bone's a much more flawed film as a film. Like it has real profound moments and it's got real teaching points and stuff, but as a film, there's bits that don't play and there's unnecessary scenes and there's characters that just aren't written that great, and it's just like
Yeah.
there's more deficiencies of the film in my eyes compared
Yeah, I
to
feel
this.
like I would have preferred this film to the bone.
All right, fair enough. And just last comparison
Go on.
because it's Oscar season.
Oscar season.
Did you enjoy it better than Three Billboards?
No.
No, I don't know.
I think Three Billboards is still the what picture like Oscar Best Picture
Yeah.
vote.
See,
If we get a ballot,
that's
I'm still waiting in the mail.
that's what I personally want, but I think this is going to win.
I don't see this is a contention between me and Matt. We might actually do something where we set up. We might like tweet or some of our votes. We don't know. We're talking about it, but I'm making it happen. I like the idea because I think I'll win. But we're gonna try and make our picks for Oscar stuff.
What
And I
about
think Gary Oldman
Post?
will win. Not this.
We've
Haven't
not-
seen the Post. Post just
Oh.
seemed very Oscar baity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep in, so it's...
Yeah,
So I reckon we should go watch it.
the Post.
Maybe.
I mean, it feels like it does seem a bit like.
More history.
I've just-
Is it his? I don't even know what it's about.
I don't know.
I
Oh, it's about the newspaper, the Washington Post, and something to do with kids or something. I don't know what's
As
going
long
on.
as we watch, like, Coco or something.
You want to
before
watch a
then.
palate cleanser?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right, shall we wrap it up there then?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, sorry, it's gone a little bit longer than we thought, especially for Churchill. But we did have quite a lot of film news and some debates, which I would love to get into further down the line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for listening to What Pictures' podcast, Tripod Talk. Sorry, I forgot where I was there. We do congratulate you if we know people listen this far. So please leave a comment. What comment shall they leave? Please.
no.
What comment?
Yeah, what comment?
Up you
Put-
go.
literally, what comment? I'll send you a t-shirt.
Such a bag.
Such a bag.
No, I just want. I want.
He wants one comment, people. I'm going to set up a fake account and
Yeah,
do it.
please.
So please.
We like the fact that you listen to us, especially when we ramble about nothing. Well, not nothing. It was a good film. Yeah, please visit wehavetripod.com if you want to see what we're about, what we do, especially everything else that we do on YouTube. Please follow us on social media. We're on Twitter.
You'll see. It's not hard, people.
Yeah, we're working around it. and
It'll be in
stuff.
the YouTube description.
Yeah, there's more stuff. Also, if you want to help us out, head over to Patreon to become a patron of What Pictures. I've been Matt Lister, your host. To my left has been Dylan Moore.
Bye.
And to my right has been Sophie Ellis.
Bye.
We've been Tripod Talk. No, we've been What Pictures who are Tripod Talk.
Oh, that's
I get
fine.
told every week. All right, that's fine.
Told by
Sorry.
who?
Me.
Goodbye,
Oh,
Soph.
Soph.
I just touched your leg.
It's fine. We've touched a lot more than that.
Bye.
Those
That's a good
pre-soap
point.
days.
That's a good, it's a good point to leave off on. See ya.
See ya.